Hello, good afternoon. You are welcome to Saint of Roses again. This is another live edition, our special February edition on parenting. And this afternoon, we're going to be discussing on addressing generational trauma in children. And we'll be having a guest speaker. She's a parenting expert. She will come live and she's going to be teaching us more on this subject. So I want you to stay tuned. I want you to stay glued to the screen. She's going to be talking about addressing trauma in children. Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you
I'm
today?
fine. I celebrate you. It's nice to have you here on Instagram. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you. It's been quite
Okay.
a
And the
week.
family, I trust God you are aware. You are ready to give it to us hot and raw. Okay, so if you're joining us now, this is Saint of Roses, and we have our guest. She's already in the house to teach us, to take us further. And remember, our discussion this afternoon is going to be on breaking the cycles. We are going to be addressing trauma in children specifically. She's a parenting enthusiastic. She loves children. She loves parenting so much. So, Ma, we would like you to introduce yourself to us before you take charge this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, Rose. My name
Okay.
is Ola. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone watching. My name is Ola. I'm a child and adolescent counselor, an
Okay.
educator, and most importantly, an advocate. I keep saying it because that's the most important part of what I do. I'm an advocate for healthy parent-child relationship. That's like the bottom line of everything that I do. That's what I
Okay.
present. And I also run Olive Resources. That's the business I get to sell educational resources, books, games, toys that create a nurturing environment for the wholesome family.
Okay, madam. You heard her yourself. So she's going to be taking us live this afternoon. Before we continue, I want to believe all is set. Our audios are clear. You can hear me, madam.
I can hear you
So,
clearly.
okay. So over to you. What is trauma, generational trauma? In fact, when you gave when I saw the subject, it's really surprising to know. So children get traumatized.
Yes, yes. Bulk of the
So
struggle we have as bulk of the emotional struggles. Yeah, the major part of the emotional struggles we have as adults stem from childhood trauma, stem from our
wow.
experience as children.
Okay.
So, and most
So,
times, we're not
okay.
aware that these things that they are doing can affect us negatively,
Wow, really?
which is why decisions. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, what do we do about this? You say most people are not aware of it. So,
Most
how do we
people are not aware.
create this awareness? In fact, how do we identify this traumatic experience? Because we need to know them, what it is exactly, before we can begin to think about the solution.
Mhm. It takes a level of self-awareness to actually understand what's going on with you and to identify what exactly you're dealing with. Yeah? So when people hear the word trauma, they scream. They believe it's something very terrible or negative, or but then trauma is basically an experience you have, an unpleasant emotional experience, an
Okay.
experience you have that leaves you emotionally hurt. That is what trauma is. And then you don't get to deal with it. You don't get to heal from it. That is what trauma is. So it doesn't have, now in this context, right? So something that happens to you that leaves you emotionally hurt, that leaves you afraid, and then leaves a trend of emotional patterns that gets you uncomfortable. And
Okay.
then you leave it unaddressed. That is what trauma is. So it doesn't have to be something terrible like people get to think it is.
Okay. So I'm glad you just demystified that trauma is not really a negative experience.
Yeah.
So what about generational trauma?
Okay, so generational trauma, basically, the word generational means passing it down from one generation to the other.
Okay.
So all of those emotional struggles that you had and you didn't heal from as an individual, all of those pain, all of the fear, all of those behavioral struggles or behavioral patterns that you probably inherited or that you acquired along your process, along your developmental stages, and you didn't get to heal from. And then you now pass it down to your children. That is what generational trauma is. So generational trauma basically is passing down unresolved emotional pain, unresolved emotional fear, unresolved behavioral patterns from one generation to the next generation. And it can
Okay.
manifest in different ways. It can manifest as anxiety, it can manifest as feeling nervous, it can manifest as low self-worth, can manifest as emotional numbness or repression. Yeah? It can
Okay.
manifest in the way that we discipline our children, the way that we communicate with our children.
Okay.
So generational trauma can manifest even in the way that we relate with people. Generational trauma can manifest in these ways and more.
Okay. Okay. So right now, from what you just said, definitely it's not just any negative emotion. It's just an emotional hurt that wasn't properly resolved.
Yes, yes, unresolved emotional hurt. Yes, that's what it is.
So is it possible for a child to pick up this trauma without personally experiencing it?
I love to say that a hurting person will hurt another person. We live
Okay.
in a world where most of us are hurting and bleeding around. So because we are hurting, we bleed on people around us. We bleed. In fact, children most times are the recipients of these things because we, we we live in this part of the world. Children are treated like they are treated like less humans because they're children. Because they're children, they are
Yes.
treated
Yes.
like humans. They are treated like, oh, because you're a child, so you do what I say. And you do it because I said it, and that is final. So children don't get to hold their opinions. Children don't have an in fact, adults believe that children shouldn't have an opinion. So this is what I say, and you get to do it because I said so. So, as adults who have not healed from this trauma, we bleed on children, we bleed on everyone around us. You transfer aggression on people
Aggression.
around
Yeah.
you, you
Oh,
transfer your unhealed ideology, unresolved ideology, unhealthy ideology and opinion that formed or shaped based on the experiences that we've had. We get to transfer these things to people around us. And of
okay.
children are left out. So the worst part of it is an adult who is not healed from all of this generational trauma and is having to raise a child. So you're
Wow.
basically downloading or transferring all of these struggles, all of these emotional struggles to the child. And of course, the child is a sponge. Every child is a sponge that is soaking in everything that you're giving to them. So that when you press them, what drips basically all that you have put into them.
Wow. Wow, that is amazing. Okay, I heard a story of a lady. Okay, it was just an encounter. She was telling her children what her parents did to her, and unknowingly, she was also
Transferring the same thing.
transferring it. So can we say those are becoming family patterns? So is there a relationship between generational trauma and familiar patterns?
Yes,
You hear people say this pattern runs in my family.
yes, yes. Except we in fact generational traumas and behavioral patterns or family patterns are in sync, because you cannot remove me from the experiences that I had. You also cannot remove me from the environments that I grew up in. So the environment that I grew up in is my family. That is where I get to have an identity of who I am. That is where I get to build an ideology, a perspective of who I am. That is, in social studies, say family is the smallest unit of education, the smallest unit of the environment, the smallest unit of the society. So it is in the family that the child gets to learn everything that the environment builds on. So that
So
is
the main work is the family. The
it
family.
is the foundation of every individual is the family. Every trait you see out there started in the
From
family.
the home.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. So what are some signs? How can we recognize a child that is being traumatized? Is it possible to have a healthy, happy, brilliant, intelligent child that is dealing with this generational trauma? Is it possible?
Unfortunately, yes. It's very possible that a child is traumatized and he's doing well academically.
Amazing.
That an individual, a child, is traumatized or struggling and is doing well. The reason is, as individuals, we have learned to, sorry, please, as individuals, we have learned to channel there are people who can channel their energy into one thing. So there are people who are overdriven. There are people
Yeah.
who are over motivated. So
Okay.
now for these people, when they struggle in certain aspects, what they do is they divert their energy, all of their energy, all of their interest into one particular thing. When they channel that energy into one particular thing, they are able to nurture it so well that it now becomes for them the core of their personality. They
Okay.
can afford to fail in that aspect because for them, this is what defines my success. This is what defines me as a person. So because they have nurtured, they have grown that, they have grown so much strength in that area, and they can't afford to fail in that area. If every other thing is failing, it's fine. This one thing, I must try in this one thing. So they are over motivated, overachiever. So even if every other thing is not working out, this one
That's
is working out, and they are fine with it. So they would rather invest so much energy into this one that is working. So it's very
okay.
now
Very possible.
for children who are not able to channel energy in this direction, because of course, emotional struggle can affect individuals in every aspect. You would see children who are very intelligent, probably when they were in the early years, and then as they grow, they begin to decline academically,
Okay.
or they begin to exhibit certain traits. Now, when you invest and when you investigate rather these people and find out what exactly is going on, you'll see that they have struggles that they don't get to talk about. So except they
Okay.
have others who come in and help them in this aspect, they will think so deep into it, and at some points it can affect their education and their academic performance, can affect their intelligence because of course they're not emotionally stable. Yes. So because they are not emotionally stable, it affects a lot of other things. So
Okay.
if there are children who are able to still strive academically, you see that it affects their behavior. So they either become withdrawn, or they become isolated, or they become more
Okay.
troublesome, or they become more aggressive. So there are different
Okay.
traits to look out for to identify a child that is struggling with trauma. Can manifest in different aspects, behaviorally, academically, even in their appearance. So you see that this child
Okay.
used to come to school looking really neat, or this child used to be very excited, but all of a sudden he's not the same. Some things have changed. His behavior has changed, the way he speaks, appearance, the way he relates with people.
Okay.
There is always a telltale sign to pick on. So we as
Oh,
adults have to be very aware, have to be very sensitive to be able to pick these signs.
okay. That is amazing because I'm just beginning to think, like there was a scenario of a particular child. He was doing so well. Then suddenly he became withdrawn from the society, and addicted to maybe some kind of screen or gaming or whatever. So
Wow.
could it be that that child is traumatized, or he or she is dealing with an unresolved emotional hurt?
Yes, it also there are also other factors that actually contribute to these experiences. Yes,
Okay.
sometimes it may not be trauma. It could be a developmental milestone. For example, children within the ages of 11 to 13 also struggle with certain things that might appear to be trauma but are not trauma, because at that stage they have a lot of emotions, a lot of um
Changes.
hormonal surge. Yes, they have
Yeah.
a lot of hormonal surge in that stage because they are pubertal. So these behaviors can also seem like it, but they are not exactly the same. So it also the developmental stage of the child can also be a contributory factor to their behavior.
Okay. Okay, that's amazing. So I'm more interested now in emotional abuse. Lately, there's
Okay.
been an awareness that young ladies, when they get to a particular age or teenage age, they become or they have tendencies to be very rude.
Hmm.
I don't know. I know you know what I'm talking about. Girls
Yeah.
naturally, when they get to a particular age where they begin to affirm themselves and beautiful and this, they become very rude. They become like, I know everything. I don't need anyone to teach me. So how do we at that phase be able to distinguish that this child is in a formative year or a developmental year, or this child is not being abused? This child is not being has not been traumatized by an experience that is making her to have this first phase. So how do we distinguish between both?
Okay, so it's important to have an understanding of what each developmental milestone comes with.
Okay.
Now, for that age that you have described, children that age basically want to exercise independence to the fullest.
Okay.
Also, it is advised that children that age don't need so much hovering. They don't need so much rules and regulation. They don't need so much do this and don't do that. What they need more of in that developmental stage is friendship.
Okay.
Now, because what they need more of is friendship, before they attain that stage, it's important that we have imbibed the values we want to see them portray.
Okay.
So we have every other age before that pubertal age to teach them all that we need to teach them. That stage that you have described is the stage where they get to exhibit all of the traits that they have, all of the values that they have imbibed, all of the
Wow.
things that they want to explore and exhibit. That is the stage they want to exhibit those things, because that's the stage that they want to be independent the most. Now,
Okay.
what we can do at that stage is basically give them room to make guided decisions. So we are not saying don't do this, but when they want to make certain decisions, we have to tell them, okay, if you do this, because I remember that at that stage, what my dad used to do more of was ask you questions. My dad was never somebody to tell you do this or don't do that. No, and somehow it's important that we have more parents who are open to the children's opinion.
Yeah.
So sort of gave us an avenue to always go back to our daddy, this is what I want to do. And then my dad's like, oh, okay, really? So if you do it like this, what do you think will happen? He gives you room to process your decision. Okay, so what if it doesn't turn out this way? If you do it this other way, what do you think can happen? So that way, the child is able to weigh the pros and cons of the decision that they are about to make.
Hmm.
That helps them make decisions clear-headed. That also helps them to strengthen their decision-making process. Because the truth is, we are not always going to be in their lives as their parents.
Okay.
So we also want them to be able to get to the stage where they want to make decisions and they are not afraid of making decisions.
Yes.
And that can
Independent.
only happen if we have allowed them to make their mistakes, to make guided mistakes. Yes, because
Got
of course, even we are adults, so it's not every time we want to be told what we want or what we should do.
it.
For example, as a married lady, you have a struggle and you reach out to your husband. Most times, it's not because you don't know what to do. Most times, it's because you just need somebody to be your sounding board. So, yes, this is what is going on, and this is what I intend to do. So, and then we also know that while we are having this conversation, we are also protecting our thoughts. Do you
Okay.
get? So that's also, it's the same thing with children. It's the same thing. So the reason they now get to rebel more is if, as children, their opinions didn't matter. If they felt that as children, their opinions didn't matter. If they felt that as children, you always told them what to do, what not to do, don't do this, don't do this, go there, don't go there. So at that stage, they're wondering, what? Wait, as a child, you always told me this. So now that I'm much older, at what point exactly are you going to allow me to begin to make decisions? So that is when they begin to behave like difficult, and that's when their behavior seems more difficult or more of impossible,
Okay.
because they don't want to break out. But if they know that right from time their opinions matter, right from time we're not going to impose things on them, you already gave them an impression that yes, they can make decisions and make guided decisions, then they won't have to rebel so much.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I really want to say thank you for that because, like what you said, that age is a particular age where they need to apply all the core values, the family values. You know what you have taught them. So, assuming maybe the parents did not do any of that during the formative years, is it possible to have a kid that will just, snap at you and say, "My way or the highway"?
Yes. If we have not taught them what to do, if we have not taught them how to behave, most times we as parents we assume a lot. But you
Okay.
should know that this is not acceptable in our family. No, ma. But that child does not know because you have not taught him, because you have not taught her. He doesn't know. So
Okay.
except we deliberately teach them what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is appropriate, what is important to us as a family, what you are, who you are as
Who
a
you
person,
are.
because the fact that you're a teenager doesn't mean you are like every other child out there.
Yeah.
There is something that makes me different from you as a person. The
Okay.
same way there is something that makes my family different
From
from
your
your family.
family.
We have our values. For instance, in my home, we do not encourage secular music. So, because we also know that our children will go out there and want to listen to secular music, what we do is we infuse some secular music that have values, the values we want in
Yeah.
our children. We infuse it into our family playlist. How are you, my friend? Is a secular music.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
So we infuse this secular music that have the values we are looking at for, so that when our children are outside, they are not absolutely lost, because they are going to interact with children
From.
who also come from the secular world. So we
Yes.
don't want them to be aliens. We don't want them to not have a social life. We just want them to have a life guided by values, guided by an image of who they are, an image of who they want to be as a family, an image of who we want them to project, a
Oh.
representation of who we are as a family.
Wow, amazing, 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 amazing. That's amazing. Now, concerning generational trauma, if as a parent I got to know that I am passing down these patterns to my children, how can I take correction? Like you said, it all begins with the family. So the work starts with the parents. So how do I correct my mistake? What do I need to do now?
You're going to have to start with learning. A lot of people say parenting does not have a manual. The truth is, it does. It is just not clearly spelled out. You see
Yeah.
the way your parents raise you, They were our parents raised us. They were handling us a manual. It
Yes.
just wasn't documented. Say, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what we are running with. No. But then they had things in their head that they wanted for their children. So yes, they had the manual. It just wasn't documented.
Yeah.
So what is going to make the difference is that you're going to have to document what you want step by step. You
Okay.
may not have it figured out yet from start to finish, yeah, but on daily basis. So if you're saying that as a child you had emotional struggles that you don't want to pass down to your children, you're going to have to deliberately unlearn these things.
Okay.
Now, when you unlearn them, you're not going to leave the vacuum,
Okay.
because leaving the vacuum is worse. Every other thing can take that place.
Yeah.
So when you unlearn these things, you're going to have to relearn what you want. So if, for instance, I heard of a story of a particular family that when they need to fry chicken, they would cut the leg of the chicken from the ankle down. So they will cut it down from the chicken before frying. Now, the grandmother did the same thing and passed it down to the mother. The mother did the same thing and passed it down to her daughter. So her daughter now asked the mom, okay, so mommy, when we fry chicken, I noticed we cut the leg. Why do we cut the leg?
Okay.
That is what, so we are not.
Can you hear me? Okay. I think there's been a kind of technical issue right now. We just want to wait until she comes back.
Wasn't for a bit. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
it's
see me?
better now. Yes.
Thank you. So the mother had to go back to the grandmother and ask the grandmother. The grandmother said because that's how they taught her. And then they asked the next grandmother, and she said, "Oh, her fry pan is just, and we can't take the whole chicken." So she gets to cut off the neck and the leg so that her fry pan can accommodate the chicken
Yeah.
while frying. So imagine that that child didn't question it. She would have continued without understanding why it was happening. So we are going to have to unlearn and then relearn.
We
So when
learn.
she found out that, okay, this is why it is done that way, she is able to also do it better. So you are able to cut it into smaller pieces and then marinate it. So the spices goes into it better and then it gets better results. You understand? So we can actually unlearn this trauma. So for us to not pass the trauma down, we have to unlearn. And then the traits that we want to see in our children, we have to start by learning ourselves.
Okay.
Our children will not listen to us because we said this is what we want them to do.
Yes,
No,
yes, yes.
they
This
are
is true.
going to watch us.
What we
Monkey
do.
see, monkey do. So it's not enough to say this is what I want you to do. Oh, you're going to do this because. No, we are the legacy that our children are seeing.
Okay.
So what we want to see in our children is what we are going to exhibit, is what we are going to portray, the behavior we are going to put out to them. And it
Okay.
is not just when they are not watching, because children know what's going on. If we are pretending they know. They know
Yes.
the sincerity of our heart. They know the genuineness of our heart. So we are going
Wow.
to learn. And when we are learning, we are not learning because we want to teach our children. We are going to learn because we want to be better for ourselves. It is when we are better for ourselves that we can impact our children with the same level of knowledge. So if we do
Amazing.
not want to pass down trauma to our children, we have to heal first.
We have to hear you first.
We have to heal first. And the healing is not we forgiving our parents. Our parents did not sin against us. That's one
Wow.
knowledge come to also realize. Most times we come from the angle of, oh, forgive your parents, they
Forgive.
hurt you, and all of that. The truth of the matter is, when they were doing it, they did not do it because they wanted to hurt us. They did it because that was the best knowledge that they
They
had
have.
available.
Yes. Who they were. We're just
So
passing
we
who they were
saying
down. Yeah.
we are not trying to say forgive your parents. No, we are saying learn and do better.
Do
That's it.
better.
Oh, please excuse me. Give me a minute,
It's
please.
fine.
Hold on.
Okay. So You've heard she's talking about addressing, generational trauma in children. It's amazing, we grew up in a time where we did so many things, not because they were right. We did those things because our parents taught us, they modeled those behaviors to us. So consciously or unconsciously, we picked some of these behaviors, and now that we are parents, we are running with the same script. But we can do better. We must understand that a traumatic experience doesn't need to be passed down, it can be corrected. We have to identify these experiences. Why do I do what I do? Oh, over. Here she comes now.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
You're welcome back.
Yeah, so we have to be able to decide the traits. Yes, so our parents, I was saying that our parents did not deliberately taught us.
Yeah.
So we are not coming from a place of forgive your parents. If you are saying you have to forgive your parents, that means you have decided in yourself to say this is one wrong that they did to you. That was not their intent. They were basically trying to make sure that they gave you a good life to the best of their ability. So if you
Ability.
take offense from that, it is not their fault that you're taking offense in it. Am I trying to be insensitive? No. I'm only saying that most times we blame our parents for things that we can actually take responsibility for and do better for ourselves. So when we keep blaming our parents, it is us not taking responsibility. Now you're an adult. So now that you're an adult, you're going to have to take responsibility for yourself. It is no longer what your parents did to you or what your parents did for you. It is not what you're doing for
You
yourself.
do. Oh,
So you're going to have to own your journey, own your experiences, refine your experiences, and decide what experiences you want to give to your children.
okay. Okay, that's amazing. I have, I had an experience, or permit me to say, there's a case we are handling right now.
Okay.
Okay, there's a case we are handling right now. There's a particular lady. She's a mother. She's got kids, but this lady, she openly admitted that she's still offended in her parents because she believed that they did not give her the right education. So she is still upset with her parents because, according to her, her life did not turn out the way she wanted to be. So she strongly believes that her parents are responsible for the outcome of her lives. But here's the deep thing. Do you know there are other kids from the same parents and they have amazing results? I want to know what could be the difference, the cause and effect, because these kids, they went through the same generational trauma. In fact, some of them had it worse than her, but the outcome of their lives are totally different. What will you say
Okay.
about that, madam?
Now, no two children experiences the same side of their parents.
Okay.
I say that and I'll explain. Now, except the two of them are both firstborn at the same time, which is
Impossible.
exactly. So no two children experience the same parents. The parents that parented you as the firstborn is not the same parents parenting the secondborn. By the
Exactly.
time they are secondborn, they have better experiences, they have better knowledge, their personality is different. Experiences at the time is different. The personality of the child that they are raising is also different. So a lot of factors come into play when it comes to the experiences that we have as children. I'll give you an example. So before now, I used to be very angry with my mom. Very hot. I used to be very
Yeah,
upset
yeah,
with her.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
we
you've mentioned that
had
before.
a lot of that conversation in school then, if you remember. I used to be very angry with her. But then there were conversations I had with my siblings, and then I got to understand that I was the only person having this hurt.
Yeah, grudges in you.
I had so much anger. My
Hmm.
siblings were oblivious of what I was talking about. So at that point, I had to start asking myself questions. So if I feel so hot about all of this, why am I feeling this way? It's basically because I'm a very sensitive person. Is
Yeah.
it my fault that I'm a very sensitive person? No.
No.
But the thing is, the parents' fault? No. It is my personality. So I'm going to have to take responsibility for my experiences. I'm
Hmm.
going to have to take responsibility for my life. I'm going to have to take responsibility for what I do with the experiences that I have had.
Wow.
If I want to keep blaming my parents, that is basically me throwing a pity party. Unfortunately,
Exactly.
they have
Yeah.
lived their life. I eventually got to have the conversation with my mom, yes, and then she said she was sorry and all, but it doesn't really fine. It felt better when she said she was sorry. But then it doesn't change the fact that all of these things happened.
Yeah.
Now, these things that happened have helped me to build the ideologies of who I want to be as a parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
She sees me, she sees my children, and she's asking me a lot of questions. You
What you
understand?
are doing differently.
You understand? So you can tell that it was basically, and then of course, our parents, now we want to probably just have two children or one children, or worst case scenario, three children.
3 kids. They
You
had
hardly see somebody who wants to have up to 5 children in this generation,
or 8.
because we understand that it takes more than provision to raise a child.
Exactly.
In the days of our parents, they felt, I mean, once I can meet your needs, that's fine.
Yeah.
Once I can provide all that you need, that's fine. But then they were going through a lot of stress that they didn't even know why they were stressed. Our
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
work and come back and they are angry and they are aggressive and all.
Yeah.
They didn't know why they were getting angry. It is now we understand that when we are stressed, we react in these ways. So
Mm.
now we know that because I want to be able to give this child the best of me, can I afford to have 5 children and give each of these 5 children the best of me? Do I have the mental capacity to give birth to 5 children? Do I have the emotional ability to give birth to 5 children? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we are going to have to take responsibility for our journey. No two children turn out the same from the same parents.
Mm.
No two children, even if they are identical twins, their interests
Possible.
will be different, their personality will be different, their behavior will be
Their
different, their
choices.
interpretation of experiences will also be different.
Amazing, amazing. I like the fact that you just demystify this thing with me. Because I was on that case, I remember the lady saying, I'm doing this to my kids because this was what my mom did to me. And the mom came into the picture and she said, why are you doing this to your kids? She said, I'm doing this to my kids because you did the same thing to me. And the lady was upset with the mother, saying, why would she be angry? I'm only just following her footsteps.
Hmm.
And I got into the picture. I was like, no, you don't make the same mistakes. We have to make it better. We're
Yes.
a generation of difference. And she said something. She said, my mother has refused to admit or apologize to me. So, you know, and unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, she has just traumatized her kids and they are going to pass that cycle down. So,
You
how do
understand?
we help these people, this older generation, to correct this wrong ideology? Because it's
The
similar
truth
to
is,
tradition.
she needs to heal. She's hurting and she needs to heal. And she needs to heal for herself, not for her.
For ourselves.
She needs to heal for, I mean, the mom questioning her and asking for why she's doing what she's doing means the mom has a better understanding right now. And
Wow,
the
amazing.
mom knows better from her
Mm,
because she believes that, and okay, so there's a way that the experiences you have had want make you want to be a better person.
exactly. You are
You
right.
understand that this thing happened because this person did not know better. I will do better because I will learn to do better because I want to be a better person. Every generation is supposed to be an improvement on the previous generation.
Exactly. Just like phones. Exactly. Yeah.
For what she did. Now, what she's doing is passing trauma to her children, giving her children trauma to heal from. She needs to see that what she's doing is first herself. Now, if you are peaceful as a person, I like to say that the first person to enjoy the benefits or the repercussion of whatever you do is yourself. If
It's
you are
you.
your child, you are the first person to
Feel the
suffer
hurt.
from, because after hurting that child, you feel guilty, you would feel hurt, you feel pained. You won't feel that way if what you're doing is right.
Exactly.
So the first person to benefit from the hurt that you're passing to your children is you. Now, aside the way you feel, the second reason that you are the first person to also benefit is when your children come back, they come back at you with the same energy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So now we have parents who are in their old age and they want their children to come around, they want their children loving up on them, they want their children showing them affection and all of that. But the question is, when your children were much younger, did you teach them to be affectionate towards you? Were you as a parent affectionate towards your children? If you were not affectionate towards your children, you won't expect that in your old age you'll be affectionate towards you because you didn't teach them. So when parents in their old age are complaining, this child didn't call me, you didn't reach out to me, it's been months and I've not heard from you, it's because that child doesn't feel the connection. If that child doesn't feel connected to you, he's not going to pretend.
Despite you doing your work
Do you
of providing
understand?
their needs.
Responsibility and parenting is not the same. Nurturing your child emotionally is not the same as as financial responsibility. Financial responsibility is probably 1/10 or a very minute fraction of what parenting is all about. So if you're passing trauma to your children, you're going to be the one to also suffer from it. Sorry, my kids are back from school. You're going to be the one to also suffer from it. Because this same energy you are giving your children, you are teaching them this is how to do life. That is basically what you're telling your children. So when you now grow old and you want your children to do life differently to you, they are wondering, this is not what you taught us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they give you the feedback of what you have invested over the years. It's a return of the investment. Yeah.
Seed time and harvest. You will not sow mango
I want
and
to
harvest
reap
want to harvest watermelon.
more coconut.
It is what you have sown that you would reap.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Wow, we've come this far.
That particular lady, sorry to cut you, for that particular lady, I would like to plead that if she feels her mom has hurt her or she has offended her, forgive her.
But amazingly, it's been a drag on this person because right about now, the situation. Are you there? Are you there? I think there's been a kind of network.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
I'm here. My network got frozen for a bit. Sorry.
Okay,
So
okay.
please, I'd like to please forgive your parents. They didn't do all of that with the intention of hurting you. But please do it for yourself.
For
You
yourself,
are
for your
responsible
well-being.
for the way that turns out. You are the driver of your life. Your parents are basically caretakers.
Caretakers.
You are absolutely responsible for yourself and for the way that you turn out. So please forgive your parents, quote unquote, but heal. Most importantly, do it for
Heal.
yourself. Heal.
Heal for yourself.
Heal for yourself. If you don't heal for yourself, you're going to traumatize your children. You're going to give them a lot of emotional baggage to heal from, and it's not worth it. So they're also going to grow up to become heartbroken adults. Is that
Yeah.
what you want your children to be? Please heal for yourself and give your children a wholesome upbringing. Nurture them love. You have so much love to give, so
So
much
much.
love.
So
So
much.
nurture them with love, heal and nurture them with love. They deserve all the love. You
You
deserve all the
all
love.
the love.
So show yourself love, love up on yourself, and let it transfer to your children.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I'm glad. I'm glad you're really talking about this cycle that we need to break. Can you hear me? I
Yes, I
think network. Okay, I'm glad you're really talking about this cycle we need to break because personally myself, I remember some years back we had a conversation on how we grew up, and I told myself
yeah,
if I'm going to be the best of the best, in fact, before I say I do and even start having kids, I must make sure I'm well within. And I can
yeah,
see within you that we have both outgrown those stages. So we're
yeah,
not talking from
yeah.
a lot of renewed mind and experience. So I don't know. Before we call it a day, I would just like to ask the last question that is here. So how do we create a new emotional legacy for our kids? You're a mother. You're a mother now. How do we, make these kids a wholesome kid, healthy emotionally, not just
How
physically?
do we create emotional, how do we create children that are emotional? How do we raise children that are emotionally healthy? You cannot give what you don't have.
Okay.
You cannot give what you don't have. The
Exactly.
truth is, if you are not emotionally healthy, you cannot raise children that are emotionally healthy. If you are not
Amazing.
emotionally safe, you cannot give, you cannot raise children that are emotionally safe. So for you to, sorry, please give me a minute. Hold on, please. When I'm done, I'll call you, okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. Sorry, my kids are back from school, so I'll
It's fine.
yeah,
So,
sorry about that.
it's
So you
fine.
cannot be emotionally healthy children if you are not emotionally healthy yourself. You are going to transfer the frustration, anger, because it takes emotional intelligence to not react when your children are throwing tantrums. According,
Honestly.
it takes emotional intelligence. Let me say it like this: it takes emotional intelligence to not throw adult tantrum when your
Oh,
children are throwing.
amazing. You can say that again.
When your child is crying, your child's emotions are all over the place. You have to be emotionally intelligent to bring your child to a safe space.
Mm, exactly.
When my daughter was in the previous class that she was, every day after picking her from school, I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but
I
after
think
school, my daughter would sit down and
that's
cry
right.
for 1 hour or more, sometimes 1 hour 30 minutes.
You said so.
And she won't allow me to do any other thing. If
Just
I
like
try
that.
to stand up, she goes, Mommy, no, Mommy, don't go. And I would sit down and be looking at her till she's done crying.
Mhm.
Now, for her, she's unpacking her emotions. She had a very stressful day.
Yes.
All she needed was just an avenue to feel safe enough to unpack the emotion. She was crying because she didn't have words to describe how she felt.
Exactly.
So if I have not worked on my emotion, I'm like, I don't wait, why are you crying? This cry you're crying is for what? If you want to cry, let me beat you so that the cry can come out once and for
Yes.
all. But how helpful is that?
A lot of additional problems. You're
So I
adding
have to
more.
and watch her. Sometimes while she's crying, I ask her, do you want water? She'll say yes. She'll drink the water and continue to cry. Sometimes, do you want juice? She said yes. She'll drink it and continue. And then when she's done, do you need a hug? Mommy, I want a hug. Sometimes, do you want me to hold you? I'll hold her and she'll still be crying. I just need her to feel safe emotionally, basically. So if she's able to unpack these emotions, she feels safe enough to unpack these emotions. I'm helping her to learn to self-regulate. I'm helping her to learn to express her emotions. I'm helping her to understand that it is fine to feel. It is absolutely okay to feel the way
Yeah.
you feel.
Yeah.
It's okay to
It's
cry.
okay. Yes.
So if we are going to help our children, it's okay to allow our children to unpack their emotions, but we have to be able to take it. Can we take it? I want my children to be able to feel safe around the home. When they honestly exhibit this emotional safety around the home, do we have the stamina to
To,
withstand?
to
Because it
accommodate.
takes stamina.
Yeah.
intelligence to withstand your crying baby. When you don't understand what is going on with them, you just want to hold them. And the truth is, even we as adults, sometimes we exhibit these things.
Yes,
As
sure.
a woman, there are times you just want your husband to just hold you. Nothing, just hold me. Do you understand?
Yes,
So it is not
yes.
about the children. There are times that even your husband will just come and just, please, just hug me.
Just hug
Just
me.
hold.
I want to
He
feel
just
safe.
wants to hold your chest and feel safe.
Yeah.
So we as adults want these things. We
Yeah.
can express it by coming to request the hug. Children may not be able to express it. So for us to actually allow them express their emotions, we have to first work on our own emotions, work on our emotional intelligence, work on our emotional awareness.
Mm.
I hope I've
Amazing. Wow. I don't know. Thank you so much. That is the last question. So you want to recap for us? Is there something you want us to take home this afternoon?
now. What I would like to my closing remark would be that with all the experiences that we have had, some of us had healthy experiences while growing up. Amazing. I'm happy for you. Some of us did not have healthy experiences while we were growing up.
Yeah.
Heart reaches out to you. We do not blame our parents because they did
Exactly.
what they know to do.
Hmm.
They gave us the best. There were there are conversations you have with your parents, and you'll be shocked when they tell you, I did not do that to you. That's
Exactly.
because they didn't supposedly do it. So it didn't even register in their mind.
Hmm.
But it hurt as a person because you were the one on the receiving end. Now imagine that your children have to also go through the same experiences, receive the same hurt from you. Do you want them to also grow up with the same hurt?
No.
Behavior that any now, if you are to look at you right now? Do you want your child to be, if you're 40 years old, you're 35 years old, you're 47 years old, you're whatever age you are, do you want your child to be 47 years old and behave or have the same experiences that you have right now as an adult? If you do not want your child to be you at 37, then please change the hand-me-downs. Thank you very, very much for having me. It's always a privilege being here. I'm super, super grateful for the privilege.
It's amazing. It's amazing, Mrs. Thank you so, so much. You did say something very vital, which I'm going to use as my own copy for this session. It says, you need to heal first. Your
Mhm.
parents did not know so well. Now you know better. You should do better.
Yes,
So we're going to take this word out there to those people blaming their parents, saying all manner of things. It is not necessary. We can change the tide, we can do better, and we can become the best versions, not just for the children, but for yourself as an individual,
yes.
then to the family and to the society at large. Thank you so much, Ma, for giving us your time. We celebrate you. We love you. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to having you again. Please do us well to follow her on our Instagram handle. I think it's at Olive Resources.
Olive Resources 23.
Okay, Olive Resources 23. Please follow her. You can private chat her if you have some personal questions or experiences. She's also a case worker. She can help you on your parenting journey. Thank you so much, Mother. We look forward to having you again. To have a lovely afternoon. We love you. God bless you. Till we meet again.
So much. You have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend.
Okay, ma. Bye for now.
Bye.
Wow, that was an amazing session with Mrs. Omolayo. She's a parenting and adolescent coach. She's a child adolescent enthusiastic. She's also a counselor. So, prevention, you have some, some parenting needs, or you want some parenting, courses. She's a trainer, and I would like you to private chat her directly on her Instagram, or you can also send a message to Scent of Roses official here on Instagram, and we can connect you. Thank you for joining us. We want to say thank you, and I hope you do have a lovely day. Till we meet again, I remain your host, Rosemary Onoyivwaka in Lebua. Do have a great day, and bye for now.